We can, here, let me move this real quick. Just do this. All right. We're going to go ahead and keep the show rolling. Our next guest, I just say I've known people for about a decade because that's roughly true in my life. So I met Tyler. His is a unique relationship in my life because it started out with mutual silence, which normally it takes a really long time in relationships to get to the point where you can just be silent with someone. But our first real meaningful experience as friends started in silence, just out in nature, and it's been wonderful ever since. So I'm pleased to introduce Tyler Becker to enlighten us on his experience with depression.
Check, test. All right, cool. So I've had depression for a long time. I was officially diagnosed about 6 years ago. Before that, I didn't know a whole lot. And so when I would hear that somebody had depression, I would ask myself this question, and this is something I think a lot of people do. I would ask myself, what is it that this person needs from me? And there's a critical error that you make when you do that. But I'm going to get back to that, and I'm going to go in a completely different direction because that's how my brain works. I'm sorry. I need a volunteer. Someone to help me act out a scene. Just read a couple lines. Anyone brave enough? Come on up. Thank you, Lavana. Let's hear it for Lavana. You will be reading. I will let you know.
Which the highlighted?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is a scene that I found from a webcomic called Hyperbole and a Half, one of my favorites. So my name is Tyler, and I have I had a couple of fish. My artistic prowess knows no bounds. So I had a couple of fish, and they died. Can you show some sympathy? Aww, thanks. Thanks for the sympathy. This is Lavana. Lavana won't acknowledge that my fish are dead. She's acting like my fish have gone missing and that they can be found somewhere.
What's wrong?
My fish all died.
Don't worry. I'll help you find your fish. They must be around here somewhere.
No, I know where they are. They're dead.
We'll find your lost fish in no time.
Thank you, Lavana. You can get that. It's a memento from your time here. Okay. And we're going to come back to that later. So, new direction. Does anyone know, this is science direction, does anyone know where your happiness comes from? And I don't mean not like God, like in your brain, what causes happiness? Does anyone know? I hear, yeah, serotonin. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter. Your brain has chemicals called neurotransmitters. They're responsible for all of your happy and good feelings. So in school, got an A on a math test, and you're just smiling for the rest of the day, neurotransmitters at work. You feel good after a hard workout. Exercise releases neurotransmitters. Without neurotransmitters, you wouldn't be able to feel happy or good ever. It's a related question. Does anyone know what causes depression in the brain? Any guesses? Oh, you're so smart. Yes. Depression happens when your brain can't use its neurotransmitters properly. I don't know the exact science of it. My therapist would say that your brain forgets how to use its neurotransmitters. But But essentially, oversimplification, but essentially, depression happens when your brain chemically can't feel as good as it could otherwise. So, show of hands, how many of you just learned something new tonight? Oh, a few honest people. Good. No, it's okay. It's seriously okay if you didn't know that. Before I was diagnosed with depression and learned all of that from my therapist, I didn't know it either. I didn't know really anything about depression. I assumed that it just meant you were sad a lot. Back then, if you had said that you have depression, I might have tried to give you advice. Say something like, you just have to make yourself be happier. Or just bear down and get through the end of the day. It'll get better tomorrow. Or just change your attitude. That's great advice if you're sad. Depression isn't the same thing as sadness, though. Because depression is more than sadness. It's the absence of happiness. It's apathy, hopelessness, loss of motivation, and a bunch of other things that I can't really put into words. But the thing is, so my point with my bad advice that I was giving back in the day is that you can't just choose to be happier. You can't make yourself be happier when you literally don't have enough of those chemicals to be happier. Bearing down and getting to the end of the day, that doesn't work if every day is worse than the one before. I've tried it. It's not a sustainable model. Depression isn't about your attitude. It's about your brain not working correctly. And when people do what I did back then, when they assume that depression is just being sad, instead of taking the time to find out what the truth is, then all they're doing is offering solutions to the wrong problem. It would be like if I had a bunch of dead fish, but no one will acknowledge that they're dead. Instead, they act like they've gone missing, can be found somewhere, and everything will be okay. Don't worry, they say, I'll help you find your lost fish. They must be around here somewhere. No, I know where they are. It's just that they're dead. We'll find your lost fish in no time. That's the solution to a different problem than the one I have. The frustrating thing is that I'm not even looking for a solution to my dead fish problem. That problem might not even have a solution. I really just want someone to come and say, sorry about how dead your fish are. Or, man, those fish are super dead. I still like you, though. Instead, what I get from people is, the fish are deadest before the dawn. You used to have so many fish. What happened? Can you just make them be alive again? Have you tried feeding them? What about bees? Do you like bees? The fish are dead. If people would stop trying to fix me and just listen, maybe they'd see that what I need from them isn't their bad advice. Because the problem, when you say to yourself, what does this person need from me? The issue is that you're asking the wrong person. You should be asking them. You should say to them, what do you need from me? You shouldn't say to yourself, what do they need from me? And that's my point. I see a therapist. I have depression. I see a therapist. I get advice from him. He gives good advice. I see somebody else for depression medications. So what's left for everyone else to do for me? They can show up. They can listen. They can try and understand. What I need from other people is friendship. What I need from my community is community. You're not going to cure my depression. But you know something? Depression is really lonely. You can help me with that. Depression makes me feel worthless sometimes. You can show me that I have value when you show up and spend time with me. Depression feels hopeless a lot. And you can remind me that I'm loved and that there's good in the world. The people who help me the most aren't the ones who try and give me advice. It doesn't really help when you tell me what you think I'm doing wrong and then leave. It's the ones who show up and live life with me in community who make a difference. While I can't speak officially for anyone else, I'm willing to bet that that's the one thing that everyone with depression has in common. It's as simple as that. Offer your friendship. You can't fix anyone. You shouldn't try to fix anyone. But even if you can't be the solution to someone's depression, you can be a part of it. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Tyler. Does anybody have any questions for Tyler? We'll give you a couple minutes to write some down if you do. Otherwise, okay, I see some pens moving. So Tyler graduated Friends University with, what was your degree in again?
Spanish and religion and philosophy.
As I ask all religion majors, how's that working for you?
Well, they just opened the new religion and philosophy factory across town, so lucrative.
Okay. Any questions coming? I see a pen moving, but I don't know if it's for a question. Okay. Well, Tyler will be around for another couple minutes if you want to ask him privately. Otherwise, we'll take a 5-minute break. And Tyler, thank you again. Oh, we do have one. What didn't I do? Faster, Patty, faster.
You're rushing them.
Okay, so this is, I think this comes up quite a bit. A friend with depression moved away. Does it help to know that I'm praying?
That really depends on the person, how they know you. So let's say my mother was in the hospital. She lives in Arizona. She's in the hospital for a knee surgery or something. And I tell her that I'm praying for her, and that's all I do. Regardless of your beliefs about God and intercessory prayer, there's nothing directly happening for me to benefit her, as opposed to, say, calling her every day or writing an email or whatever. If praying is all that you're doing and you could be doing more to more directly let them know that you love them, that you care about them, you should also be doing something more.
Thanks, Tyler. That's a hard question, I think, for people to ask openly, so thank you for answering it openly. And then one last chance for questions. Here it comes. Man, total mystery. Community sounds extremely important. What role can the church play in addressing mental issues other than just offering community?
Based on my experience with the institutional church, you could probably do more to offer more community. So to begin to answer the question, first I would say make sure that you're reaching out to individuals who need the help. But it can also go more than just having community. It can be reaching out and cooking meals for them, helping them clean house. With depression especially, it really saps your energy, and you don't want to do anything. Sometimes you just can't do anything. So there are services that you can offer as community for people. Beyond that, generally spreading the word. I mean, I feel like this is a good example of the church reaching out in the interest of helping people with mental health issues, is to show up and learn and teach. I don't know if I fully answered that question, but
I think it counts.
thanks. I was complimented.
Because I happen to be the mother of someone with a serious mental illness, and the church could advocate. We can do everything we can to make sure the mentally ill are not on the streets or not in the jails, and the funding is there for the services they need if we want to do something.
Very well said. Thank you.
All right. We will go ahead and step into a 5-minute break. Tyler, thank you again so much.